Just 90 minutes before a potential U.S. strike that could have caused a massive escalation in the Middle East, President Donald Trump announced a surprising decision to suspend all attacks on Iran for a period of 2 weeks, on the condition that Tehran immediately and safely reopens the Strait of Hormuz, the strategic waterway through which nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply passes. Trump described this move as a double-sided ceasefire, emphasizing that the United States had already met and exceeded its military objectives, and that the temporary halt was intended to provide space for diplomacy and negotiations to achieve a long-term peace agreement. The announcement followed a 10-point proposal from Iran, which Trump described as a workable framework for discussions, signaling a rare moment of potential compromise in a conflict that had escalated dramatically over recent weeks. Iran responded cautiously, with Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi speaking on behalf of the Supreme National Security Council, stating that if U.S. attacks were suspended, Iran's powerful armed forces would likewise cease defensive operations, and that for the next 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz would be possible under coordination with the Iranian military. The decision came after persistent appeals from Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and military chief General Asim Munir, who, alongside mediators from Egypt and Turkey, had been seeking an exit from the conflict that threatened regional stability. Pakistani officials invited delegations from both the United States and Iran for further negotiations to settle all disputes and reach a conclusive agreement. Meanwhile, Israel expressed support for Trump's ceasefire announcement, but added a critical caveat. The deal does not include Lebanon, where Israeli forces remain engaged in military operations against Iran-backed Hezbollah. Despite the ceasefire, Israeli strikes on Lebanon continued, causing confusion among civilians attempting to return to their homes, while Hezbollah appeared to observe the temporary pause, creating a fragile balance on the ground. International reactions were largely welcoming, with European Union Foreign Affairs Representative Kaja Kallas describing the move as a step back from the brink after weeks of intense escalation, and United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres calling on all parties to comply with international law and adhere strictly to the terms of the ceasefire to pave the way toward a comprehensive and lasting peace. Analysts and U.S. officials, however, cautioned that Trump's claims of military success may be based on overly optimistic assessments of the conflict, potentially giving the public a misleading sense of progress. Key issues remain unresolved, including Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, its support for regional proxy groups, and the formal arrangements for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's 10-point proposal calls for a permanent end to hostilities, protection of its regional allies such as Hezbollah, and the establishment of an oversight protocol for the Strait of Hormuz, ensuring Iran a central role in managing this strategic passage. As the world watches closely, the coming 2 weeks will be critical in determining whether diplomacy can succeed over confrontation, whether temporary calm can evolve into lasting stability, and how the balance of power in the Middle East will shift in the wake of this unprecedented ceasefire announcement. For now, tensions have eased slightly, safe passage may resume, and both sides prepare for talks that could reshape regional dynamics, but the path forward remains uncertain, fragile, and fraught with potential challenges.